There's another form of stuttering that happens when the person who stutters uses too much effort to articulate sounds. Usually that effort is a compensation, or indeed an overcompensation, for the thought that I can't say that sound. And so what the individual does is tense and prepare to say the sound using way more force than is necessary. One of the techniques that I found very valuable in helping overcome hard articulatory contacts is to use minimal effort or minimal contacts when articulating sounds. This technique we call light articulatory contacts. When we articulate, structures in the oral cavity come into contact with one another. These contacts serve to restrict the flow of air, making the quality of the sound different. It changes the relationship between the oral and pharyngeal cavity, changing the resonant characteristics of the sound. And so articulation is constant movement and constant contact of the articulators as we speak. All that's required is the minimal contact when they come together. People who stutter because they're anxious about speaking and trying to compensate for the difficulty they're anticipating can tend to overpower or force their way through articulating the sounds. This is called hard articulation. And so what we want to do, the technique that we want to use to help the client overcome hard articulatory contacts, is to purposely bring the articulators into contact as lightly and gently as possible. So for example, when we make the F sound, the lower lip touches the upper teeth. All that's required is for the lip to touch the teeth just a little bit. You'll notice often when people stutter, it looks more like this. You can feel the tension and you can hear the difficulty of the sound escaping as the client tries to articulate. And so what we instruct the client to do is just feel the lightest contact between the lower lip and the upper teeth to make that F sound. It sounds something like this. Fire. I usually begin teaching the client a little bit about the articulatory process because most people never stop to think about the process of articulation. And I focus particular attention to the structures as they're coming into contact and how they relate to the sounds that are being produced. I also try to have the client give examples of hard contacts that they make as part of their stuttering. As we progress, I instruct the client to think about articulating in a very soft, easy manner. Sometimes I use the analogy of tiptoeing when we walk, just barely touching the ground with your feet. Let's watch Renee and her client as she instructs him in the use of light articulatory contacts.
The next technique I want to talk to you about is light articulatory contacts. In normal articulation, we use our muscles and our articulators, and they come into contact to make different sounds that we need to produce our speech. And also, they come in contact to change the different proportions of the oral and velopharyngeal cavities. Now, I've noticed sometimes when you make sounds, you use too much hard contact. So I really want to emphasize using the light articulatory contacts. For example, on the P sound, I want to hear the minimal amount of effort to put your lips together, such as instead of because when you have a hard contact and your lips come together too hard, that results in a block. Now we're going to practice using this technique on some words. And we're going to say the word using our light articulatory contact first, and then repeat it using the hard contact that sometimes occurs with stuttering blocks. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Repeat after me with the light articulatory contact. Paper.
Paper.
Good. Let's make a hard articulatory contact. Paper.
Paper.
Okay, you see the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's try the next one with the light articulatory contact. Potato.
Potato.
Very good. Now with a hard contact. Potato.
Potato.
Good. Now let's move on to sentences using the light articulatory contact on the words in the beginning of the sentence. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. People here are nice.
People here are nice.
Very good. Tom is at school.
Tom is at school.
Okay. Big parties are fun.
Big parties are fun.
Very good. I like the light articulatory contacts on each of your sentences. Next, I'd like to try conversation using all of your light articulatory contacts, bringing your muscles in contact with the least minimal amount of effort needed to make your sounds.
Light articulatory contacts draw the speaker's attention to the act of speaking. What we really want to do is have the client speak more deliberately instead of just letting it happen. Really, what I'm emphasizing for the client is the feeling that speech should be effortless. It shouldn't take all of the muscular effort to articulate. That's working too hard. And so what I try to emphasize to the client is speech is always onward, going forward, and effortless. You shouldn't have to work that hard to speak. In teaching a client to use light articulatory contacts, you shouldn't really see anything. What I mean by that is the evidence that the client is using light articulatory contacts is really a lack of hard contacts in their speech. So as the clinician, you need to be looking for articulatory postures, forceful articulation, and excessive muscular movement when articulating sounds. I hope that you'll give this technique a try, and I hope that it will benefit your client into speaking in a more effortless manner and reducing his stuttering.